Good morning. I'd like to show you around my Raleigh Sports bicycle. This is from 1970, and I know that because on the rear hub, the Sturmey Archer hub, it'll say, if you can see it there, it'll a year stamped and then a month. And so here it is 70/10, October of 1970. When that wheel was produced, and if that's the original wheel, then the bike is from October of 1970. This particular model is the step over version or men's version, 23-inch from the top of the seat tube down to the center of the crank. This is their largest model, and you're just supposed to raise and lower the seat and also the stem to fit you. Now what I want to show you about this bike is called the all steel because everything on it is steel except for the pump, which is aluminum. The cranks have a cotter pin. The rims are chromed steel. The spokes are not, which would probably be a good thing if they were stainless steel. The calipers, the side pole calipers, are all steel as well. Now, even the brake levers are steel. Now, you can get a magnet and prove all this to yourself, but I can assure you this was built in England at the time when steel was really a magical material, better than iron. All kinds of possibilities with vanadium and chromium, and then budding became popular to lighten the tube while not sacrificing strength. You can read more about that on the internet, budding. This is really a high quality bike, and it was pretty much the state of the art for years. And then many people imitated them, Schwinn, various companies in Japan and in Europe, but then they started to innovate and go to aluminum, and over time this particular bike sort of fell behind and became branded as heavy, but it's still an excellent machine and can get you from A to B no trouble. I want to show you a couple of things that are interesting about it that you need to know if you're going to own this bike. The first is you need to oil the rear hub, and there's a little cap that you put oil, like a 3-in-1 oil, not a WD-40, more like a Tri-Flow or a 3-in-1 type oil. There's the cap. You should be able to see it right there. Another thing is how to get these 3 gears to work. You'll notice that there is a hole in the side of this, I'm going to call it the axle nut. It's a special Raleigh axle nut, and that hole is really a window to allow you to see into this mechanism, the chain. When the gear is in second gear up here, second gear out of 3 on the lever, down here through that window you will see a rod starting to emerge. All right, it's going to be very hard to see, but I'm going to describe it to you. There is a rod that is screwed into here. It should be screwed in all the way. The adjuster mechanism is here. You need to get the rod to start appearing when you're in gear 2. Here's what happens at gear 1, and here's gear 2, and then there's gear 3. You will not be seeing the rod at this point. So put it on gear 2 and make the adjustment using the window right here, all right? What else? The front axle also has a hole for oil to go into. You remove this little cap and there's a hole and oil goes in there. One unusual thing about a Raleigh front wheel, you may not be able to see clearly again, but there's a cone on this side that has a flat area on both sides. That's for a wrench, about a 15mm cone wrench. Now the other side does not have that. It's cylindrical. No place for a wrench to grab it. Here, there is a place, and what this means is the wheel needs to have this cone adjustment on the left side, always the left. When you're adjusting the cone, it should go completely firm, not wrenched tight, but firm. And then when you mount the wheel into the stays, the front fork stays here, you untwist this 180 degrees to give the wheel some looseness. Not so much that it wobbles, but so much that it turns. Also, you're going to notice here there are especially wide washers on a Raleigh. And if you're lucky, your old Raleigh will still have the original caps with the R on the end. One other interesting thing about this bike is that if you go backwards, the brake pads might actually slide out. That's just the way it was designed. So you're going to have to make sure you don't lose your brake pads if you reverse your bike. That's all I want to say about the bike. I love it. This is classic. It still runs as well as it did the day it was made. Raleigh Sports, pretty awesome.